So the last thing you always want to do when you are creating a program is run it in different and test it with different inputs to make sure that it is in fact working properly. Like I've been running it with 10 every time, and I've been getting 50 every time as an output, and it seems like it's working just fine. And it might be, but let me throw this idea out at you. So what if I chose 11? 11 is going to convert to 51.8. Okay, so let's try it on our program. So I'm going to run my program and test that. And when it asks for, I'm going to put in 11, and what am I getting back? 51. Wait a minute. This was 51.8. Now, what's happening here is, and it might be okay, you have to decide, it's your program. What's happening is we've said both of these variables are of the type integer. So therefore, since they're both integers, when the calculation was made, anything beyond the decimal was just ignored. It was just truncated. It was cut off as if it didn't exist. It didn't round up or down. It simply said, I have to ignore everything that's a decimal because I am an integer. And as a result, we're getting 51 in Fahrenheit. Now, if that's acceptable to you and that's the way your program needs to run, that's okay. But if you need to accommodate for that 51.8, you need to be more precise, then you have to reconsider your variable types, your data types. Let me show you what I mean by that. Remember, we're shooting for 51.8 here. All right, so we decided that both of these are going to be integers. So what we want to do instead is we're going to use something called a double type, D-O-U-B-L-E. And what a double means is that we want to account for the decimal. So I spelled double wrong. So now we want to be decimals. We don't want you to ignore the decimal parts. That needs to be part of the calculation. So don't truncate, don't cut off the decimal. Make sure you include the decimal in our output. So now let's run this and see what we get. Okay, so no compile errors. It's still thinking, there it goes. And now let's see what happens. So now let's type in, please enter a degree, 11. And what am I getting back? Now I'm getting 51.8. So you might think to yourself, well, really technically, I'm only going to ask the user for an integer. Like, they can just put in an integer, but we want to output a double. So why don't I make the Celsius an integer, and then the double, the value, the aftermath, the final solution, I'll make that a double. Because Celsius it doesn't have to have a decimal on it. Well, let's see if this works. So I'm going to run this again. And my build is building, there it goes, and here is my window. So let's try it this way. I lost my window here, sorry, so I'm getting it back. So let's try it the way we just did. So here we said the input number is going to be an integer. So I'm going to put 11. That's a valid integer, no problemo. And then what is the output going to be? Well, the output is still 51 because the program has to make a decision. The program says, well, in the calculation that you asked of me, this was an integer. Since that's smaller, I'm going to use that as my final answer. So since you have an integer, I'm going to give you back an integer. You had an integer and a double, but it gave me back an integer. Now, if you can't remember or it doesn't make sense why did it choose an integer over a double? Well, rather than doing that, I suggest you just come in and do these tests. You should always be testing your code for various inputs so that you know that you're getting the correct output. So, well, I don't really understand why, but I see that it's not working the way I anticipated. So I guess I'll go back in and make this a double as well. Because now what's happening is the calculation has spelled double wrong. The calculation is receiving two, this calculation is a decimal, and therefore it knows it's a decimal, and when it makes the calculation, it carries that decimal forward into the solution. So now when I run it, I do get the final output as a double. So I know this can be a little bit confusing, but rather than trying to memorize it, think about it and test it. Run the different scenarios. If you're not getting the output that you expected, it might be because you are not giving enough values in your numbers. You are using an integer when you should be using a double. Or if you don't really care about the decimal points, then you can use all integers. So be cautious of the data types that you're using. But after we've solved that problem and we're getting the output that we wanted, we've now tested for logic errors, and we've tested our output to make sure that whatever value we put in is in fact giving us the output we had intended. I think we are good to send our code to production or maybe to our teacher to get it graded.